Hi, I'm Jennifer, and this is Movie Talk. This week's movie is from a franchise that is one of my favorites. Doesn't rank as high as Star Wars or How to Train Your Dragon or The Lion King, but it's probably my fourth favorite franchise. Well, tied with the Avengers franchise, as I love the Avengers franchise as well, and that's the X-Men franchise. And the movie we're going to be talking. Excuse me. The movie I'm going to be talking about this week is X-Men First Class. This is the fifth movie in the X-Men franchise, but it's a prequel movie, and as a prequel movie, I just thought, and with movies like this where there is a timeline, but it's kind of a timeline where some of the later events are talked about first, I kind of like to do them in chronological order as opposed to release order, as I feel the flow will actually make more sense if I talk about them that way. So this movie was made in 2011, and it tells the story of how the Brotherhood of Mutants and the X-Men actually get their start. It opens up in 1944, where we meet Eric Lenshaw, aka Magneto, who at this point in the movie is played by a young man by the name of Bill Miner, and then jumps to Little Winchester, where we meet Charles Xavier, aka Professor X, who at this point is played by Lawrence Blanchard, and Raven Darkholme, aka Mystique, who at this point is played by Morgan Lilly. Then we jump ahead to 1962, it's about 18 years later, where obviously the three characters have grown up and are now played by Magneto slash Eric is played by Michael Fassbender. Charles Xavier slash Professor X is played by James McAvan, and Raven slash Mystique is played by Jennifer Lawrence. And they are basically recruited by the CIA to help stop a mutant by the name of Sebastian Shaw, who is played by Kevin Bacon, and his cohorts Azazel, played by Jason Fleming, Riptide, played by Alexander Gonzalez, and Emma Frost, played by January Jones, from basically starting World War III. And they are joined by Hank McCoy, aka Beast, who is played by Nicholas Hoult, Alex Summers, aka Havoc, who is played by Lucas Till, Angel, who is played by Zoe Kravitz, I believe is how you say her last name. And if I sound funny, I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a cold. Darwin, who is played by Eddie Gatharis, and Banshee, who is played by Caleb Landry Jones. And they basically have to stop Sebastian and basically save the world. And by the end of the movie, Eric and Charles basically go their separate ways and start their own individual groups. Charles starts the X-Men, and Eric starts the Brotherhood of Mutants, I believe is the name of this group, I'm not 100% sure. And while it takes place 5 movies after some of the other X-Men movies, it sets up the other X-Men movies. It basically, because of its release number, it ties up a lot of the loose ends from X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, not so much X-Men Origins, as that focuses mainly on Logan, but it does tie up the those three X-Men movies, X-Men, X-Men 2, and X-Men 3, or X-Men 2 United and X-Men 3 The Last Stand. It does tie up some loose ends for that. But timeline-wise, it sets up those movies. And I really did like this movie. It was really good. I loved the acting in it. I loved how when they opened the movie, they opened this movie the same way they opened the first X-Men movie, and I thought that was a really ingenious way to tie this movie with the first X-Men movie. As I think they actually used footage from the first X-Men movie to tie the two together. So I thought that was a very ingenious way to tie the two movies together. To be like, okay, this is taking place 4 movies later, but it takes place before it, so we're going to open it the same way and we're going to tie them together. I thought that was very ingenious. They also used, I believe they used news footage from 1962 in this, rather than have actors acting out the news footage, which I thought was very ingenious. I really liked that a lot. I loved the special effects in this movie. Obviously, it's an X-Men movie. People have powers. So there's a lot of special effects in this movie. There's also a lot of, makeup in this movie, as Azazel and Raven don't look like normal humans. So Azazel is, Jason Fleming is constantly walking around in red makeup with a fake tail. And Jennifer Lawrence, when Raven is not disguising herself, is walking around in blue makeup with fake scales on her body and whatnot. So which you don't see very often. You just see it a little bit, and whatnot. And then when he transforms into Beast, obviously, Nicholas Hoult is wearing this blue makeup and like blue fake fur and everything, and I loved it. It looked so real. Banshee's powers, his supersonic powers, looked amazing. I could actually see the sound waves when he's using his powers, which I thought was really cool. Havoc's energy blasts look so cool, as he has powers very similar to Cyclops, and I will talk more about Cyclops when we get into X-Men. If you don't know who Cyclops is, Angel has, like, the weird thing is she's called Angel, but because she has wings, but her wings are more like a dragonfly's. But it's okay. I mean, obviously, it's easier to hide dragonfly wings than it is angel wings. And I guess dragonfly just didn't have a nice ring to it. And then, Darwin, he has the ability to adapt. So, when he's adapting, he has the unique abilities and whatnot. And then Emma, she's a telepath, but she can also cover her body in diamonds to block out Charles' mind reading abilities. So, they did that. That was obviously computer generated, but still, it looked really cool. I love the diamond covering on her body. When she did it, I thought it was really interesting. The suits that Hank develops for the X-Men, I thought were really neat. They don't look anything like what they wear later on, but it's a first pass. So I thought for a first pass it looked very interesting. We see the Blackbird, which I loved. We see the school, which looks beautiful. It looks just like this, the way it looked in the TV show from the 90s, which I absolutely loved. And we get a little into, the falling out between Xavier and Eric. We find out why they're at each other's, well, not really at each other's throats, but why they're opposed to what's going on. Eric, having been Jewish and put in a concentration camp, understands, just is afraid that that's what's going to happen with mutants, and Xavier wants to coexist with the humans. He believes that's their best choice, and it really sets it up. It explains why Xavier can't walk anymore, which is really interesting, and it really sets up the franchise really well. I almost wish they did this movie before X-Men, because I think it really would have set up the flow of the movies better. But, for prequel, it did a really good job of tying up the loose ends. They actually did make, Raven look a lot like how she looked in the original movie. I don't know if she was played by the same actress. I think she was played by a different actress in the original movie. Can't comment on if Beast looks the same way as he did in the third movie, because I haven't actually watched the third movie yet. I will before I do a review on it. But I did see Days of Future Past, and the Beast in Days of Future Past does look a lot like the Beast in this movie. He doesn't look like the Beast from the TV show. The Beast in the TV show is a little more bulkier and whatnot, but it's like, okay, I guess it would be a little hard to do like a more bulkier Beast in this. It'd just be too difficult of a costume to work with. So just doing the makeup is fine. It's good. You know, Beast doesn't have to be bulky. Not all Beasts are bulky. I actually like the more wiry Beast for what he's able to do. I thought, you know, wiry is better than bulky. But, you know, I like that. Beast is actually one of my favorite X-Men, so I was so happy to see him in this movie. We do see Logan/Wolverine. He has a little, Hugh Jackman has a little cameo in this movie when they're recruiting, which I like because Wolverine's another one of my favorite X-Men. In case you're wondering, Storm is the third. And whatnot. And I love this. One thing that confused me is that in the TV show, and I'm not sure about the comics because I've never read the comics, but in the TV show, I believe Alex was supposed to be Scott, aka Cyclops' younger brother. So the fact that he's in this movie, which takes place, you know, when Scott is a kid and he's actually a teenager in this movie, a little confusing for me. I'm like, okay, you needed a reason to bring Havoc in because he was I think he was a prominent player in the X-Men things. And I could be wrong. I mean, Havoc could actually be Cyclops' older brother. He could be his dad. I don't know. Like I said, I've never read the comics. If you out there have read the comics and you know for sure, just let me know. I would like I said, I'm going off the TV shows where he's portrayed as his brother. So I have to go off that. I have not read any of the Marvel comics. I've read like one, and it was a Spider-Man comic. And that was at the urging of my best friend in high school. But yeah, a really good movie. Really set up the franchise. Like I said, I will do more X-Men movies. They will be in chronological order. So the next X-Men movie I do will be on Wolverine, because that's the next one in the franchise. So look forward to that. I do not know when it will be posted, as I have like 3 other movies, well, 2 other movies, scheduled, before I can even think about doing that, and I have a reason for it. They'll tie in with my TV Talk videos. So, you know, just be patient. I will get to it. It may be within the next 3 weeks. I may just decide, hey, I want to focus on Logan, or on Wolverine, because he's one of my favorite X-Men. But don't hold me to that. I may decide I want to do something else. But that will be the next X-Men movie I do. So yeah, that about wraps up this movie talk video. Be sure to like and subscribe. That helps me out a lot with these videos. Also, feel free to leave your comments, your opinions and questions in the comment section. That also helps me out a lot, and I do love reading this. And also feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. The information will be in the description. And I'm Jennifer. Thank you for joining me for this movie talk, and I will see you next time.